What is your American dream?
My American dream is that we just stop talking about walls. A society without walls. That's my American dream.
I pray for, everyone to be happy and be at peace.
People come to this country for the same reasons. They try to get away from what's going on at home, and we should embrace each other. Got two things. I hope that Spanish is prosperous for our son Dion, who's 8 years old now, and we hope that he will be taking over our company in the future.
My American dream is I have to successful my every single thing because I have one daughter and my wife. So that's I want my good hard work and give it to them.
My American dream is one day I have my home pancake all over the place.
I'm living it. The fact that I'm able to open up my own food truck and be able to represent my culture and be able to expose it and just kind of create unity representing Ethiopians and Eritreans.
Everyone has a right to the American dream. Nobody heard me say it. How are you, everybody? It is October 7, 2019. It is Monday. I am joined by the always beautiful and always on time Belgium Kim and Jonathan Yo-Yo Elias, who somehow took an Uber helicopter from Harlem here.
I teleported
You
here.
teleported because at 5 o'clock you were just like getting out of bed, right?
So I just got back from Dallas, and I had like an hour of sleep. I flew in, took a little nap when I got home.
You flew in aboard, my arms were tired.
Right.
Nice.
And somehow woke up at 5 o'clock, but still got here on time.
Wow.
From Harlem.
I'm gonna tell you something. Because there was no way you took the subway from Harlem down here in 30 minutes. So you either ran like the fastest man in the world. Okay. Or you took an Uber helicopter.
Okay.
Or somehow you were able to go, woo, 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 I'm here. Was it the first 1, 2, or 3?
It's actually 3.
It was 3.
Kim doesn't want to believe me.
Show everyone how you do it, because I don't even know how you did it.
That's something that I do in my private time.
Right. Because I saw that caught out of the corner of my eye, and I said, how do you do that thing? And he goes, dude, no, sorry.
I'm from Africa, so we have special powers, guys.
You have very special Black Panther powers, right?
From Wakanda.
And Belgium Kid, what powers did they give you from Belgium? Did they give you any special powers in Belgium?
It includes beer drinking, fries eating, and ingesting immense amounts of chocolates and still losing weight. We're blessed.
All right, Lit Brad, how are you? Charles C. Cassoni, Trump wins delay. I thought he lost. We'll get into that in a few minutes. Julian, squad up. Nikisha Jacobs, Devon Sr., Jessica Leamy, Joel, Dion Watson saying hello. Sophia R. Gray, Tutu Kokulu saying hello.
I like that. Hello, Tutu.
I think Tutu may be new. We like to say hello when you first join, and then after that we say, what's up, squatties? And, right? Or did I not say that cool enough?
Yes, squat up.
Squat up is much. I shouldn't be saying squatties. I'm not cool enough for that yet.
You don't want to,
I don't think I'm cool enough.
New
As I said that, I'm like, that didn't sound cool at all, right?
The question I always ask when you try to be hip is, am I being hipper by using this word, or am I bringing the hipness of the word down?
I brought it way down.
That's the question you got to ask yourself.
You answer it for me, Belgium Kim. You answer it for me. Andrew Spence, how are you? Lisa Blake Rose. Fearless Michelle has a question we'll get back to in a little bit. Cordella Douglas, how are you? And who else do we see here? Claudia Lawrence Fletcher. Squad up to the squad, family, and the viewers.
Yeah.
So, because there are some viewers who are not part of the squad.
Right.
But we are going to tell you how you can become part of the squad very shortly. Who else we have here? I said Lolitha Platt, right? Angela Barrett saying hello. Altie Morris also saying hey.
That's right.
You could say, squad up.
Squad up.
Now that I can do.
Right.
I did not bring it down there.
Right, well, because we set the coolness of squad up.
That's
right.
why.
You can't ever.
Correct.
You know?
Can't mess that up.
No.
Now, Lisa Bling Rose says, Dr. Yo-Yo, good workmanship. In capital letters.
Thank you.
Yes.
Right.
Thank you.
And Angela Barrett saying hello on YouTube. Max Santos. Jessica Kalimi Joel, double fisting.
Double fisting.
Yep. Back it up, Ricky saying good evening, everybody. Cordella Douglas also double fisting. Edney Kachanor, also new, saying hello. Ja Love, how are you? Jay Barth. Lolitha Brown saying hi, Brad Squad, what's up? Unique Thomas. DJ Killer Buzz is in the house. I can't wait for him to start DJing our show when we're allowed to play music. He's gonna be the Brad Squad DJ.
He could actually like DJ and like kind of
from wherever he is.
Our
I'm sorry,
BSL.
what?
He could figure our BSL song.
Yeah.
That like a dubstep BSL remix.
Somebody has to do it, right? Why not him, right? Somebody's got to do it, right? Why not him?
He should remix it. If you're a real DJ,
I mean, if they can do a Mandamus song, they can do.
That's true.
They can do anything.
Super
right?
important. Is DJ Killabuzz a real DJ?
Wow. Yes, he is.
Or-
Yes, he is. We did find that out.
That's
we
right.
did. We
Yes.
did. I was about to say,
All
or
right.
is his name DJ?
That's right. Donald Horton, how are you? Raul Perez, Scarlet Knight, Tally, saying hello. Island Girl, Tracy Lacey, Carol, the Top Cat, Tigress 2 Anderson, saying Brad, Kim, Jonathan, Sam, Jill, squad up. Angela Rawlings saying what's going on. Ever bless Andrea. Bless Angel says she's late, but she's here. You missed absolutely nothing so far.
Yeah.
So don't worry.
You're
Just
good.
sit down, pull up the chair. Tell the kids to be quiet, get some popcorn,
There you
and
go.
follow what Belgium Kim and Jonathan Elias is going to tell you to do right now.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. The first thing that you guys have to do is become an official member of the Brad Squad. Because if you're not an official Brad Squad member, what are you doing here, fam? Join the Brad Show Live Brad Squad Facebook group. The link is going to be in the comments right now. And listen, y'all, there's a real big advantage of actually becoming official and putting a ring on it for us. The thing that happens is that the first 5 people who ask their questions in that group every single day, they are the only 5 people in the entire universe who know for a stone cold fact that their question is going to get answered first in social media check-in. Also, you gotta share the show for us, fam. And we figured out that you guys could show up and out on Friday because you guys hosted tons and tons of watch parties. I could not go through my timeline without seeing all your amazing watch parties. We're gonna ask you to do it all again today, family. If you didn't start one on Friday, join in on the fun. Let me tell you guys, we had so many new viewers. Join the fun, become viewers, become Brad Squad members, and you'll know the more the merrier, fam. So make sure to click share and click start a watch party. It's gonna send a notification out to all of your people. All your friends are gonna get a notification saying, yo, come watch this show, and then you get to be the master of the comments by being a moderator.
And by the way, we know who starts the watch
Oh,
party.
we know. We know.
Because I am friends with many of the Brad Squad on
We get
Facebook,
notifications.
so we get notifications too.
Yeah.
You can't hide from
No,
that.
we are watching you all the time. Also, make sure.
Can you imagine that? All of a sudden, like, Tamika Nelson or Cordella's like, Brad, is that you watching me?
Is that Brad?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
That'd be kind of weird.
That's weird, right?
Super weird.
That's super weird.
Super weird. But I
Right.
feel like they'd still be into it,
They
though.
would be.
Also, make sure that in other ways of sharing the show, you can also send it as a direct message or into groups that you're a member of. But the real secret, family, is starting that watch party and letting every one of your friends know what the real deal is. Also, make sure to like and follow the page and hit that little bell so that you've got a notification coming every single time we go live. And of course, if you have immigration questions, which I'm assuming is a ton of you, I don't know why I'm not seeing all of your questions in the comments right now, because we are going to ask them First come, first serve. And if you just wait and wait until we start asking, I can guarantee you we won't get to your question. So make sure you get an answer right here, right now, by leaving those questions in the comments. On YouTube, what do they have to do, Yo-Yo?
All right, on YouTube, you guys are not off the hook. You definitely have to subscribe, all right? Just like how Facebook, we're liking the page, we're liking the Facebook fan page as well. But also on YouTube, you guys have some work to do as well. Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. I have to say that all the time because you have to let people know to subscribe and press the bell so they can get notifications. I just got back from Dallas. I was telling Brad and Kimmy. I just got back from Dallas. It's so easy to take someone's phone, literally put Bradshaw Live in, subscribe from their account, and press that little bell and say show all notifications.
Now, according to Yo-Yo, he was the most popular guy in the airport. He was putting subscribing everybody in the airport in Dallas, Texas.
At 7:19 a.m.
Yes.
If you're not that kind of Bradshaw Live ambassador, don't call yourself a squatter, man. Let's
saying,
do this. Every single one of us.
We're always working, all right? So now, also, just like Kimmy has said, on Facebook, we have a little special thing for you guys, which is starting a watch party. On YouTube, your special thing is pressing the thumbs up. All right, remember, don't get that confused with throwing emojis in the comments. We like that, don't get me wrong, but make sure you click that little gray thumb where it says thumbs up, thumbs down. We don't like the thumbs down, we like the thumbs up. Make sure you make that thumbs up a blue thumbs up.
And then right next to that blue thumbs up is a share button.
There you go.
You know what you can do after that?
What do
Because
you
your
do?
thumb has nothing to do.
Uh-huh.
You can share something, right?
There you go.
What would you share, Jonathan?
So you're gonna share this video right here to all of your social media platforms. We like to make sure that you share it from the YouTube video to your Facebook, especially those that are double fisting, like who? Jessica Leamy does, Ja Love, you do.
Does.
So make sure when you guys click share, you could actually share it straight to your Facebook as well. But then most importantly, for everybody else that might not have social media, we want you guys to copy the link and send it in a text message blast. Friends, family, you can make different groups of friends. You know, hierarchy of friends. You got your best friends, you got your somewhat friends, you got your associates. Throw it to all of them, all right?
Start a somewhat friends exclusive watch party.
Make them feel special.
That's right.
That's how you do it, all right? And not only that, but make sure you guys put all your comments in the questions in the comment section right now because we will be asking social media questions after a couple of segments. And do you have anything else to say?
I have a lot of schmoozing to say.
We got some schmoozing, so that's what we're going to do right next is schmoozing with Brad.
All right, so as somebody said in the comments earlier, I forgot who, you know, with this Trump lawsuit, with his tax returns, everybody's dying to see his tax returns.
Mm-hmm.
We know.
I am too.
We know that I have read. We know that I have read.
Right.
That his taxes look different in England than they do in the United States.
Yes.
We know that. So we know there's something funny on the tax returns. The district attorney in New York is investigating his secret payments to his previous lovers, Trump's previous lovers, Stormy Daniels and some of the other women, Karen McDougal, that they got paid off. They want to know what crimes were committed, what state crimes were committed. So far, Trump's attorney, Michael Cohen, has gone to jail for committing crimes for Donald Trump. But the U.S. attorney, the U.S. Attorney's Office, who was headed by Barr, refuses to prosecute anybody. So now the state is looking to prosecute perhaps Donald Trump to see if there was some crimes committed by the President of the United States in these secret payments to these women. Now, today, a U.S. District Court Judge, Victor Marrero, because Donald Trump sued the state in federal court saying they have no right to my tax returns. I'm a sitting president. I have unlimited power. You can't ask anything of me as I'm president of the United States. And in a 75-page order, Judge Marrero called the presidential immunity Trump invoked in the lawsuit to stop the production of tax documents unqualified and boundless. The federal judge wrote, the president asserts an extraordinary claim in the dispute that this court cannot endorse such a categorical and limitless assertion of presidential immunity from the judicial process. The judge added that given Trump's reasoning, the constitutional dimensions of the presidential shield from judicial process are virtually limitless. Basically, Donald Trump basically said, you know, I'm the president, I can do whatever I want.
Right.
Within minutes of that decision, because the tax returns had to be handed over by 1 p.m. They had to be handed over by his tax accounting firm.
Right.
There was an emergency appeal put into the Second Circuit, and the Second Circuit has put an injunction on handing over the tax returns until the Second Circuit hears the case, and they said they're going to hear it on an expedited basis. Now, in response to Trump asserting that not only that, in response, Trump wrote on Twitter,
Right.
the radical left Democrats have failed on all fronts, so now they're pushing local New York City and state Democratic prosecutors to go get President Trump. A thing like this has never happened to any president before, not ever close.
Right.
And I would say, well, I don't think any president has ever broken as many laws, potentially, as Donald Trump.
Right.
So we're in uncharted territory on both ends of this spectrum. It's funny, you ever see that movie Liar, Liar with Jim Carrey?
Yeah.
Yes.
It kind of reminds me, the arguments in court, you know, by Donald Trump's lawyers kind of reminded me of that Liar, Liar movie, you know, when like Jim Carrey is like, you know, has to always tell the truth,
Right.
you know, and is making like the dumbest argument. Let's watch quickly.
Your Honor, I object
And why is that, Mr. Reed?
because it's devastating to my case.
Overruled.
Good call.
That's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened
That's
here.
hilarious.
Now a Twitter user, Nick Jack Pop, has summarized the whole case by recalling a scene from Jim Carrey's Liar, Liar. He says, Judge Marrero, Trump must hand over his tax returns. Lawyers, Your Honor, I object. Judge, why? Lawyers, because it's devastating to my
What?
case. Judge overruled. Lawyers, good call. So that's basically what happened.
That's so
and now Trump has appealed, and the Second Circuit is going to hear it. It'll eventually end up in the Supreme Court, probably by earlier next year. Meanwhile, Trump said that he's an awesome negotiator. He's going to fix things with North Korea. Yet the talks with North Korea broke off within several hours.
Yeah.
We're still at a stalemate between trying to denuclearize the North Korean peninsula. The only thing that we have gotten so far is no less nuclear weapons, but a much more legitimated Kim Jong-un, a much more powerful Kim Jong-un, because he's been able to meet with Donald Trump, and Donald Trump has basically legitimated not only Kim Jong-un is the leader of North Korea, but has also legitimated the entire regime and that entire country, rather than saying, maybe Korea should be unified, it should be a democratic country. Nope. We have a North Korea, we're going to legitimate Kim Jong-un, and he's going to give us absolutely nothing in return. Fantastic negotiating skills there by Donald Trump.
Really?
And now the North Koreans left the negotiations within hours. The meeting was on an isolated conference center on the outskirts of Stockholm. It was the first formal working level discussion since President Donald Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un met in June. And the famous day Donald Trump walked into North Korea and he walked out, even more legitimizing Kim Jong-un as the leader of the North Koreans. And since June, U.S. officials have struggled to persuade North Korea to return to the table, but that appeared to change this week when North Korea abruptly announced it had agreed to hold talks, and then 8 hours later, it was already over. Only a day after announcing the new talks, North Korea said it had test-fired also a new ballistic missile designed for submarine launch, a provocative gesture that also underscored the need for Washington to move quickly.
Yeah.
So all we have right now is a lot of BS from Donald Trump, a more legitimated Kim Jong-un, and a more dangerous world.
Yeah.
Feeling good, Brad.
Feeling
What's
good so
next?
far.
Do you have some happy stories next?
No, I have no happy stories next.
Great.
Okay, here's another great move by Donald Trump.
Yeah.
He is taking the last remaining United States troops out of Syria.
Right.
Let me tell you why, at least in my opinion, this is a huge problem, and it's actually a huge problem across the board, both Democrats and Republicans saying bad move.
So
the only person who's saying good move is Eric Trump. Okay, outside of Eric Trump and perhaps Jared Kushner, there's nobody in America who thinks this is a good move.
Right.
Why? Because the United States has been backing, I kept calling it SAG, but SAG is the Screen Actors Guild.
Correct.
All right, I don't think the Screen Actors Guild is in Syria.
In Syria,
it's SDF,
Right.
the Syrian Democratic Forces. They're basically made up of ethnic Kurds.
Right.
And the ethnic Kurds live on the border between Syria and Turkey. Some live in Turkey, some live in Syria. They also in northern Iraq. They kind of border all three.
Right.
In Iraq, they kind of the Kurds have kind of carved out their own little area within Iraq, their own autonomous area. Turkey, Kurds have been fighting, the ethnic Kurds have been fighting Turkey inside of Turkey to get their own autonomous state in Turkey as well. Turkey considers them terrorists. We always say all the time, one person's freedom fighter is another person's terrorist, depending on what side.
The outlook.
What side.
Totally.
So according to Turkey, they're terrorists. According to others, they're freedom fighters looking for their freedom in their own ethnic enclave. Now, the United States has been backing the Syrian Democratic Forces in the Syrian portion of Syria. They're in northern Syria. They are mostly Kurds and some other Christian Syrians as well. But what they have in common is that they are secular, they are non-religious, and they want to see a democratic Syria. The United States has been backing them. Of course, Russia's in Syria, Iran is in Syria, Israel's been bombing Syria.
Right.
The Lebanese army, Hezbollah, is in Syria.
Right.
A lot of actors in Syria right now, and ISIS is in Syria.
Right.
So why is this all important? So everyone's freaking out. You know, why give up Syria? Donald Trump says, why are we there? It doesn't affect us at all. Why are we fighting for Syrian freedom? But it does affect us. Why does it affect us? Because we just finished destroying ISIS as a caliphate.
Right.
ISIS still exists. They just don't have land anymore.
Right.
Where are all these ISIS fighters? They're being held in jail right now by the Syrian Democratic Forces, the people that we're backing in Syria.
Right.
There's over 10,000 ISIS fighters, more than 3,000 foreign ISIS fighters held in jail by the Syrian Democratic Forces. Presumably, they're still angry. I would assume, for the most part, if you joined ISIS and now you're in jail, you're still angry at America. Okay? So what's going to happen? America is no longer giving the Syrian Democratic Forces aid, backing, political will, money, arms. They're going to get overrun by Turkey now. Basically, during the UN week, Trump and Erdogan agreed secretly that the United States will pull out.
Right.
Now Turkey can invade northern Syria.
Right.
Wipe out the Syrian Democratic Forces that that's been our only ally for 10 years in Syria.
Yes.
They're holding 13,000 ISIS fighters. What are the Syrian Democratic Forces going to do? They're going to say, open the door. We have no men to go watch ISIS fighters. Get out of here. We got to go fight a war now.
Absolutely.
So now 13,000 ISIS fighters are going to be released by jail, I would assume.
Right.
And I would assume that most of them still don't like America and Western values.
Right. Exactly.
So what we have done is now made a big problem even bigger.
And this is how ISIS was created. You destabilize a region, you leave all the people who are pissed, you destabilize their region, form an organization.
Correct.
This is how it happens.
So now, even the Republicans, Lindsey Graham, who has been supporting Donald Trump on every stupid movie made.
Biggest cheerleader.
Okay, biggest cheerleader in the world, can't even cheer this move on. He says, if I didn't see Donald Trump's name on this tweet, I would have thought it was President Obama's rationale for getting out of Iraq. This is a big win for Iran and President Assad, and a big, big win for ISIS. Graham also tweeted that he feared would be the result of pulling out American troops from northern Syria. A, it ensures ISIS comeback. B, forces Kurds to align with Assad and Iran. C, destroys Turkey's relationship with the United States Congress. D, will be a stain on America's honor for abandoning the Kurds. I kind of agree with him.
We're in a world where you just said you agree with Lindsey Graham, and that's a scary world.
That is a very scary world. Now, Representative Liz Cheney of Vice President Cheney's daughter, the guy from Vice who basically ran the Iraq war, Dick Cheney's daughter, says a member of the House Republican leadership called withdrawing United States forces from northern Syria a catastrophic mistake. Senator Mitt Romney, who is getting a huge backlash from Republicans and Donald Trump for already going against Trump in the impeachment process. And there are more Republicans who are going to peel off. I guarantee you this. He writes, I shared Graham's tweet and added his own thoughts. He writes, the president's decision to abandon our Kurd allies in the face of an assault by Turkey is a betrayal.
Jeez.
It says that America is an unreliable ally. It facilitates ISIS resurgence, and it presages another humanitarian disaster. Senator Paul Rand, who I believe, in my opinion, could be one of Rand Paul, excuse me. Paul Rand. He's such a disaster, I don't even know his name. I think he's one of the biggest disasters. He's so disliked that his neighbor beat him up. That's what a terrible person he is.
Right,
when your neighbor goes into your front yard to beat you up and you're a senator, that's how terrible a man this is. And I agree with him too.
Right.
Okay. He writes, and he's one of President's staunchest defenders.
Yeah.
He writes, the president. I disagree with him.
Yes, still.
Right. I
I am
was like,
disagreeing.
he's agreed?
No, I'm still disagreeing with this idiot.
When you said I agree, I thought you meant you agree with the neighbor that beat him up.
By the way, I do. It was over a tree, and I believe that I don't know anything what happened with this tree, but if I had to take a guess, I would say Rand Paul was wrong with whatever happened with the pruning of the tree.
Yes.
So, in any event, this guy is so bad, he's the only senator out of 100 senators to back Donald Trump. He says, President Trump once again fulfills his promise to stop our endless wars and have a true America First foreign policy. What? You know what? It's not America First when you release 13,000 ISIS fighters.
Exactly.
I don't know what comes first, but it ain't America.
Right.
Meanwhile, Trump on today, and this is a big deal for people, he said that he is instructing U.S. embassies around the world, effective November 3rd, and ordering that anybody who's going in for an interview after November 3rd must have health insurance when they arrive to America, or must have a job offer that is giving health insurance within 30 days of arrival to America, or their green cards will be denied at the embassy. This is a big deal. This just came out today. There is already lawsuits pending and requests for preliminary injunctions pending against Donald Trump for his change in the affidavit of support laws from that go into effect October 15th. This is in addition to the October 15th affidavit of support laws, and I don't know of any law written by Congress that says you are denied a green card because you don't have health insurance.
Yep.
There is no such law, and I would assume if this goes into effect that there's going to be a lot of APA claims. Aberdeen is going to be very, very busy in Aberdeen sues the government, because this is against all procedures that have been outlined by law and regulation. And as a result, I believe there's going to be enormous lawsuits. And my guess is that there'll be a preliminary injunction, but if not, they're going to be fought lawsuit by lawsuit.
Right.
And I believe at this time that we, being the immigrants, the decent people in America, would be on the winning side of that one.
Absolutely. Let's hope so.
Yeah. Meanwhile, there's a second whistleblower, Jonathan.
Oh, who is it?
It says is Jonathan.
What?
It says Jonathan, but they don't give a last name. Do you know anything about this, Mr. Whistleblower? No. Okay.
It gives no last name.
It says Jonathan. He knows firsthand knowledge of everything that's going on. From Apartment 9J. There is a whistleblower from Apartment 9J. Is that you?
Absolutely not.
Now, much is not known about this second whistleblower, other than that he is being represented by the same attorney as the first whistleblower, and that he has firsthand knowledge of the conversations between Donald Trump and foreign leaders, allegedly, because nobody knows what this whistleblower is going to say, but this is what's being reported in the newspapers, that he has firsthand knowledge of the conversations between Donald Trump and multiple foreign leaders about promises that Donald Trump gave to foreign leaders in return for help with a political election coming up in 2020. when the day when the President of the United States is requesting help by foreign leaders to win a presidential election in the United States of America, by all accounts, that is a crime. Each and every time he asks for it, even if he doesn't even get it. And if he does get it, more of a crime. And when he covers up, another crime. There's multiple crimes going on everywhere. And I'm going to tell you something. And this is my opinion. I have no evidence of this. I haven't read anything about this. But I find it very, very odd, okay, that Donald Trump meets with the president of Turkey at the United Nations.
Right.
And within 3 days, against all advice from from the Pentagon, against all advice from everybody at the State Department, against all advice from both the Democratic and Republican senators and congressmen in Congress, he unilaterally decides to pull out of Syria. Jonathan, from apartment 9J.
Yes.
Does this sound smelly to you after a secret meeting between him and Edgerton on the sidelines of the United Nations?
Smells horrible. Stinky.
Worse than the Dallas airport, right?
Yeah. Oh, Dallas airport was not bad.
Well, I thought somebody was sticking it up this morning.
Oh, you know, a little toot.
Got called out.
Big boy like a little gas.
Meanwhile, Justice Thomas appears to be sick. The Supreme Court. Well, we don't wish anybody to be sick.
I would never.
Okay,
I would
never, please. But apparently he appears to be sick. He's not. The Supreme Court is in session right now. They're going to be hearing three major cases that are going to be decided by June, but the oral arguments are over the next couple of weeks. On November 12th, they're going to hear the DACA case, and the court's going to deliberate over Trump's move to end DACA, a program created by Democratic predecessor Barack Obama that protects from deportation hundreds of thousands of immigrants, mostly Hispanic young adults, who are brought into the United States illegally as children. They're also going to hear about LGBTQ and workplace discrimination.
Yeah.
The court hears its first major case of the term on Tuesday on whether a landmark decades-old federal anti-discrimination law that bars sex discrimination in the workplace protects gay and transgender employees. And they're also going to hear an enormous abortion rights case. So it's going to take up a Louisiana law. Supreme Court's going to take up a Louisiana law that would require doctors offering abortion services to have admitting privileges at nearby hospitals.
Right.
That requirement would leave the state with only one doctor able to perform abortions, because that is only one doctor who has admitting privileges in a hospital who is willing to perform abortions in the state of Louisiana. Basically, by requiring this, Louisiana is basically barring abortion.
Absolutely.
It's an end around to bar abortion in the state of Louisiana.
Absolutely.
All of these cases are going to be heard. Justice Thomas will not be there. He still is going to decide the cases, according to Justice Roberts. And I don't think anyone's going to miss him at the oral arguments, because I believe, if my recollection is correct, the last time Clarence Thomas said anything, a word, in oral arguments in the Supreme Court was over a decade ago.
Really?
So he just sits there and doesn't say a word anyway. Never asks a question, never makes a comment. Maybe he breaks a smile, I don't even know. But he never says anything. It's been a very long time since he said anything.
I mean, as one of the most conservative judges on the court, I feel like there's not much he can say. I feel like where he stands is now pretty predictable at this point. So
yeah, and talking about gender rights in the workplace. There's a 24-year-old Texan. Her name is Emily Claw. She applied for an internship at a marketing company called Kick-Ass Masterminds, but she didn't expect to be shamed for a month. She'd be shamed for a months-old bikini picture on Instagram. Yeah. Now, she tweeted, "I was objectified earlier today by a company because of a picture of me in a bikini." This is her in a bikini.
Right.
She applied for an internship. Jonathan's saying, damn.
I mean...
They claimed it made me look unprofessional. They screenshotted the photo, posted it on their Instagram story, and called me out for applying for the internship. I am baffled that the company handled it in such a manner. Can you imagine that?
What?
Yeah, she applied for an internship, and not only was she denied, but they put on their Instagram story, this is not how you should look on your Instagram post if you want to apply for a job with us.
So she has a lawsuit case, right?
She may very well, yes.
This is disgusting. disgusting.
Yeah,
that
now
this company
the
did this.
company,
Like you just
the
mad because you
company's
don't look like
post-
that in a bathing suit.
Yeah, now the company's post use screenshots of Chloe in a swimsuit with text over the pictures warning,
Wow.
public service announcement, do not share your social media with a potential employer if this is the kind of content on it. I am looking for a professional marketer, not a bikini model. Go on with your bad self and do whatever in private, but this is
Whoa.
not doing you any favors in finding a professional job.
Okay.
Okay, Jonathan.
Okay.
Devil's advocate. So, we do say that, you know, whatever you post on social media is out for the world to
Correct.
see. And I personally used to post like very vulgar, like that. I would curse a lot. I would drink or smoke hookah, you know, a lot on my social media. But once I became a TV personality and public figure, I really PG'd
You have to.
you know what I mean? So what I'm saying is it? I know it's wrong for them to post.
Yeah.
That, you know, screenshot
Right.
her picture and say PSA, all of that. But as someone trying to get into an industry and trying to be an intern for a very professional company, wouldn't you want to have maybe like a private profile, like where you don't have, you know,
A
a public?
Finster.
Huh?
A Finster, maybe. A fake Instagram that only
This
your
it
best
doesn't
friends
even have to be
can
fake.
follow.
No, it could be a real one.
Right.
It's just
Like
it's
set to
private,
private.
so you have to
Exactly.
you know,
if you have
accept
certain
the
pictures that you
follow.
don't want them
Right.
people to see.
Right.
Yeah, it's probably if somebody is going for a job,
Yeah.
it's not out of the question now for a potential HR or employer to look at your social media to see what type of pictures you're posting,
Yeah.
what type of person you are, how diligent you may be, you can tell a lot from people based on
Absolutely.
what they're posting. Now, that's still, they may have looked at her social media and decided this is not the type of woman they want in working for them. But when they can't post that and
You can't
shame
post
her.
that. No, you definitely cannot post and shame it.
No.
But
And-
so do y'all not get what I'm saying? Though?
I
Do you-
understand. I guess I understand in some level, like, there needs to be a level of professionalism, but that's
Depending
not how
on
she
what-
went into her job interview. That's how she was at the pool on her Instagram. And quite frankly, what I wear over the weekend and what I wear when I'm not at work has no bearing on my ability to do a job.
It doesn't, and I don't
None.
think that's what they were saying. But the thing is, say different
but-
clients go here. Hold on.
Yeah.
Say clients that do that you work with actually go to your, because you have to share your Instagram. Your Instagram is basically like your portfolio
But-
as well.
well, right,
So
but that's
if
just-
you see if clients see that type of representation for your company that's very professional. I mean, you as a boss, you probably wouldn't want that.
I don't think that it's fair that if you are a client of a company, you go into the employee's Instagram of the company you
being
hired
a
to
MC
check it
for a
out.
bar mitzvah, the moms like look at my profile
Now-
all the
now-
time.
But you're a public figure.
Now, I will say this. Chloe wrote, it's inappropriate and unprofessional to shame an applicant through social media.
Absolutely.
We agree. A tweet rehashing the situation by the account that She Rates Dogs, which shames people's exes, has been liked nearly 63,000 times.
Absolutely.
Twitter user @BelizeMark noted that the bikini shaming wasn't just inappropriate, but hypocritical as the company has a swimsuit photo on its own social media.
Boom.
That's the swim.
That's
the
their
swim-
swimsuit
Yeah.
photo on their own social
And
media.
they don't look nothing like baby girl. Listen, I'll tell you that.
Meanwhile,
I'm saying they mad. They mad that they don't look
Right,
like
and
that.
that's why.
Meanwhile, Jonathan, tell me if you're going to be able to do this. Belgium Kim, you may know this already. A woman is going to be paid $100,000 by Vitamin Water. You know the company Vitamin
Yeah.
Water.
Wasn't that 50 cents?
Yes,
Yeah.
they're going to be paid $100,000 by Vitamin Water if she is not able to use her smartphone for 1 year.
Hell no.
Are you able to do that?
Hell
Now,
no.
fantasy fiction writer Elena Mugden, a 29-year-old fiction writer from Queens, New York, has taken up that challenge.
Damn, you said
In
100,000?
December, 100,000. In December, after taxes, it's about 51,000.
Right, exactly.
Okay, so it's
'Cause
not even
it's
a full
long-
100,000.
Exactly.
Right. So in December, Vitamin Water chose Elena from a pool of more than 100,000 applicants. So 100,000 people applied for this.
I remember this when they
For
had
their
that.
scroll-free for a year challenge that
Like
asks
the
one
little-
challenge winner to go an entire year without using their smartphone. I wonder if Brad Squad would be able to do it because they wouldn't be able to watch our show, right?
But is
They
an
put on
iPad?
desktop.
One second,
is
but you can
an-
put it on desktop.
Yeah.
So Vitamin
How about
Water
an
replaced
iPad?
her iPhone 5S with a flip phone.
Shit.
Right.
Okay,
Sorry.
that she could only use to call and text. Now, during the challenge, she's limited to her flip phone, laptop, or desktop computers, and voice-activated devices. Nearly 8 months into the challenge and going strong, Mugden says it's been one of her best adventures. She says, getting away from the smartphone has been freeing, and it's opened my eyes and made me more aware of some of the bad habits. Now I'm working on turning my life around slowly but surely. But she immediately faced some unexpected difficulties. Once I got stranded in the SeaTac airport because the
Exactly.
phone number I'd written down was wrong.
Yes.
And I had no way of looking up the right
Sheesh.
one. No way of calling a cab or an Uber, and no one in the state I knew to help me.
Jeez.
Another time, her car's check engine light turned on while she was driving late at night in an unfamiliar
Oh my
area.
gosh.
And without internet access or a GPS app, Elena had no way to find out what the light meant or where to go for help.
Oh, you see?
Oh, come on. But you know what? I remember when I was 23 years old, and it must have been around 93 and 94, right when the phone, cell phones in cars came out, but you didn't
Okay.
have the individual phone. People had cell phones in their cars.
In their cars. I
Right.
remember that.
And I drove up from Long Island to see my friend at school in Boston. And it was 2 a.m, and somewhere on 95 in the middle of Connecticut in pitch dark, I got a flat tire and I was on the side of the road. I didn't have a flashlight. I could barely see what I was doing. I was stranded on the road for 2 hours trying to change a flat tire by myself in the dark. And if anybody knows me, I shouldn't even be changing a flat tire in the light in a gas station. Okay, let alone in the dark on a highway 95. But I was eventually able to do it. I was terrified that the tire would eventually fall
Fly
off the
off.
car. I remember jacking the car up, the car falling down. I almost killed myself.
Yikes.
Because it was very dark. I couldn't see where to put the jack. So when I finally made it, I told my father, Dad,
Right.
can I get a cell phone in my car?
Right.
Everyone seems to have I said I could have called somebody to help me. Oh, the prince wants a cell phone in his car. So what I say to, what's her name, Elena Mugden? Oh, the princess doesn't have a cell phone. We're very sorry. But we've all lived through that life at one point in our time.
But we definitely weren't in the same life from then to now, because now, I mean, a lot of people you depend on the phone. Like back then we had different things to make
Right.
sure that we can
Right.
get through life without the internet.
Like,
Correct.
do all gas stations still even sell maps? Like, can you
That
go
part.
in and get a paper
knows
map
how to
from a
read
gas
a map?
station?
I don't know, but you have a laptop and you can print off. You can print because she has a laptop.
So that's true. So you're not really going back to 1990.
No, you're not.
You're going back to 2000.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
And by the
MapQuest.
way, for those who are wondering, Vitamin Water is going to lie detect her
Yes.
at the end to make sure that she has not used a cell phone.
Dang. Would you be
right.
able to do it, Brad?
No.
Kim?
I don't think so, because I'm just too directionally challenged.
I would not.
Purely for the map.
I would not be able to do it.
But would you not be able to do it for smartphone purposes or for like utilitarian purposes?
Both.
Fair. I would enjoy
both.
the disconnect,
Both.
but I need a flashlight.
Yeah. and finally, I thought this was pretty funny. A woman in Australia, she was very distressed about getting a wedding dress. Did you see this, Belgium Kim?
I did see this. I'm very excited
so
about
she was
this.
very distressed about getting a wedding dress, and she didn't want to spend over $1,000 on a wedding dress that she's only going to wear one time. And she was having a big debate: should she get it? Should she not get it? She didn't really know what to do.
This would be me as a female.
Right.
actually.
So she's 43 years old, and what she decided to do is she said, I'm going to splurge and go for my wedding dress, but I'm going to get my wear out of it. I'm going to wear it as much as I can for 1 year. So 43-year-old Tammy Hall adopted an anti-consumerism lifestyle in 2016, but what she's decided to do is wear the dress everywhere. She told reporters in the end, I decided that if I was going to get a wedding dress, I'd make sure I wore it again and again. I've wanted to do things like play basketball, go fishing, and even hike and do a across a mud crater. Tammy recalled the first time she wore the dress. The first time I wore it after the wedding was to vote in the Australian
Yes.
election in early 2019. Since then, it's been to all sorts of places. I wore it on a crowded commuter train. That was especially funny. But I've worn it to cook and to do chores, to football games, to gym. I even wore it once to chop wood. So she got her money's worth. And Belgium
I
Kim.
love that.
I'm doing that.
And Belgium
I'm
Kim
so
and,
doing that.
And Belgium Kim and Yo-Yo Ellis, we got to start answering some immigration questions. Why don't you tell everybody, please start their watch parties now. Please give their thumbs up on YouTube so we can get as many viewers as we can to help as many as we can.
All right, guys, we want as many viewers as many pictures of that lady in her wedding dresses. All right, so we want you guys to share. Make sure you guys share this this video on Facebook to everybody, every and anybody. You can share it directly to anybody's page. You can share it to. They're having a whole conversation over here. Yeah. So do you not know that you're on?
I do, but Brad doesn't. I do, but Brad doesn't.
You know what?
He always does this. He talks to me and wants me to talk to him back. It's a two-shot, Brad.
Back to sharing.
Oh my God, I'm looking right now and Belgium Kim and I are having a
Like a whole conversation. At least camera, just come to me.
That's so
Like,
funny.
next time, just come to me.
That's so funny. I
This
didn't
way.
realize you were
Now
on
y'all can
camera.
talk.
I didn't realize you were on camera.
Okay.
You do appreciate it.
How you share is press the little arrow. And of course, you could share it to anybody's page. You could share it to groups. You could also share it to an inbox, all right? And now, we told you guys, host a watch party. That is an amazing way to get that out to the mass. It sends it to your whole friends list. It's a big ding notification to your entire friends list. You get to be the king or queen of your castle. Host that watch party. Congratulate and welcome everybody that comes into the chat, but then also move them into the main chat room and tell them how to become a Brad Squad member, because you guys have to join the page. So make sure you guys get a lot of incentives with becoming a Brad Squatter, all right? Official Brad Squatter on the Brad Squad page.
Mm-hmm.
Now also, we definitely want you guys to please put all your questions in the comment sections right now. We're gonna answer questions on the phone, but next is going to be through social media, and you guys already know, like, we try to get through as much because we do one segment of social media questions and we do another segment of speed round, but we don't get to every single one of them, all right? So make sure you put in all your questions right now. Now, what are we gonna do on YouTube?
On YouTube, you guys have a much easier job. YouTube makes it so simple. Hit that subscribe button first and make sure to hit that little bell like that little finger just did. That's gonna make sure that your phone is gonna vibrate and buzz and do the little thing right around the time that we actually go live, which is like around the 5:30 mark. So you don't have to be staring at your phone. You can just wait for the buzz if you click on that bell. Also, the watch party version of sharing on YouTube is the thumbs up. We want to see the thumbs up. 80 of you have already clicked it.
Whoa.
We appreciate you, but there are 210 of you watching, so I'm gonna look down on 130 of you. But once you guys hit that button, that little thumbs up, turn it blue, I will no longer be looking down. We will be a family. We will be a team. That's right. And now is the time you have all been waiting for, family. It's time to getting answers.
No, it's not time to getting answers.
It's not time, it's getting answers. We're getting answers.
To your immigration questions. All right, we've got. All right, we'll work on all that whole thing of me talking off camera. Remember, we gotta have a production meeting about that one, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's go to Juliet in Hyattsville, Maryland. Juliet.
Hi, good
Hi, how are
afternoon to you.
How you
I'm
doing?
Bella, thank you.
Good. What's going on?
I'm Bella, thanks. So I registered for my daughter in 2013, May 2013. I'm a U.S. citizen.
Mm-hmm.
I got the receipt notice, and
Your daughter's single?
yes, and unmarried, over 21.
All right, so they're up to January 1st, 2013 right now. When did you file in 2013?
May the 6th.
Okay, you have no approval yet?
No, but I reached out to USCIS via email, and I called them twice, and they mentioned that she's within her time frame. She's not out of the time frame.
So what? She's eligible for a green card in 5 months. They can say the time frame's another 10 years. I wouldn't take that. Oh, they're within the time frame, so okay, there's nothing you can do. She's eligible for a green card. They're up to January 2013. You filed in May of 2013. They're violating everybody's rights here because the case should be approved and should already be at the National Visa Center getting ready to schedule a visa appointment in 5 months from now.
Right.
So I think what you need to do is threaten to file a mandamus. Sue them.
Let me write that down.
Sue them. Sue them.
Sue him.
Sue them.
So we have a mandamus song.
Sue them.
Sue him.
That's what we remember of it.
What's the document I need to do?
There's not a document. It's a lawsuit. You need a lawyer to do it. But if I ever have a daughter, I'm going to name her Sue, and then is her middle name. Sue Bernstein.
So, what's it, and what's the lawyer fee? What's the cost to the attorney to do it?
Hold on 1 second. I mean, I don't know what our fees are. You know, I have to find out more about your case.
Okay.
Hold on 1 second. All right, let's go to Shay in Trenton, New Jersey. Shay. Shay.
Hello.
Hi, Shay. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. What can I do to help you?
I'm calling to ask a question, right?
Yes.
Is it okay to file I-130 and I-14885? I'm trying to make sure I'm getting it right. I-485 at the same time?
If you're married to a U.S. citizen and made a legal entry into America, absolutely.
Okay, so if I'm married to a U.S. citizen, I can do that?
Yes, it's called an adjustment. That's exactly what you do.
Okay, and can I also file the
I-765, the
I-131
at the same time? Affidavit, you do everything. I'm going to tell you something, Shay, by the way. Okay? You have, and I'm sure you're a smart lady, but you have asked the most basic immigration question you could ask.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so it shows to me, really, you're not sure what to do or how to do it or what you should be doing. When you file
I'm not sure.
I know that. I can tell from your question. When you file papers with immigration and you're not sure what you're doing, what you do is you screw yourself royally, you know, because A, you're most likely doing it wrong, and when you're most likely doing it wrong, and at the minimum, you've delayed your case. At the maximum, you've gotten your case denied, and at the worst, you're getting yourself in deportation. So what I would suggest you do, based on the question that you've asked, is at the minimum here, have a consultation. Let us have one of our attorneys or myself go through the entire case, what you need to do, how you do it, et cetera, and then you can make a determination, I've got this, or maybe I need some help, okay? So hold on 1 second. Let's go to Chantel in Miami, Florida. Chantel.
Hello?
Chantel.
Yes, I'm here, Brad.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. What's going on?
I just want to ask a question. I'm calling for a friend. She went on an interview already. And they said they sent her back because they said they needed the tax paper for her and her husband to be on it. She did that and she sent it back. How long after that will she get a reply or a response from them?
Okay, who's them and where is she
at? From the USCIS.
Okay, did she go on an interview?
Yes.
She went on an interview and she never submitted a tax return?
She submitted a tax return. Her husband submitted a tax return which had him and their baby on it, but she wasn't on it because she didn't have.
So basically, he filed either single or had a household or wherever it was. So they had her go amend the tax returns and return them, which she did. So they have up to 120 days to decide what to do.
Okay, but when she went online to check the status, it's not saying anything. It just said they received the file and they're working on it.
Okay,
so is that okay?
It just means that they have a very bad computer system. But they have 120 days from the time that they receive the amended tax returns to do one of three things. 1, approve you, 2, deny you, or 3, schedule you for a new interview, for a Stokes interview. Those are your 3 options. If at 120 days they haven't made a decision, then you, as the person or the U.S. citizen or the person getting the green card, has 2 options. 1, sit on your hands and wait for them to make a decision while they violate your rights, or 2, you file a mandamus.
Okay.
All right, hold on if you need more help. Let's go to Marco in Peru. Marco in Peru, how are you?
Thank you for taking my call. My question is, can I get married in the States with a United States citizen with my ESTA visa?
If you come to the United States on an ESTA and you get married within the first 90 days of your entry into America on an ESTA, or you come with the intention of getting married, you have committed a misrepresentation. It's even worse on an ESTA, because on an ESTA, if you file an adjustment and get denied, you don't even get the right to a deportation. You just really get deported. So the only way that an adjustment application would work if you enter the United States on an ESTA is you come to the United States on an ESTA for the purpose of visiting. And after 90 days, you say, I've changed my mind, and then file an adjustment.
Like, only with the ESTA can only stay with 98. So what? Can I do that still?
Well, again, I'll repeat myself. If you come to the United States and get married within 90 days, you've committed a misrepresentation. Your ESTA is only good for 90 days, but if you made a legal entry into America, even if you overstay on your ESTA, you're still eligible to adjust your status. So if you come for 90 days and you come to visit, and on day 91 or day 95 or day 100 or day 200 or day 10 million, it doesn't matter, you get married to a U.S. citizen in a bona fide marriage, you're eligible to adjust your status. If once you get married, you can't come on an ESTA anyway. Once you file an adjustment, your ESTA is done. Because an ESTA is for purpose of visiting. And a marriage is for purposes of getting a green card if you're in a bona fide marriage.
Hey, does it mean I need to present a waiver still?
It means you need a consultation. That's what it means, because I've explained it twice and you don't get it. So hold on. Let's go to Alexis in Jamaica. Alexis.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm okay. All right. So I have two questions to ask. Like 27 years ago, my dad, he was deported. He was 18 years old at the time, and on his criminal record, it shows that the charges were dismissed. Would we need a waiver? Because the case is at NBC is approved and all of that. So
why was he deported? Why was he deported if the case was dismissed? He was here out of status?
No, possession of a weapon.
If he was deported for possession of a weapon, that means he was convicted of a crime. So, and then you're telling me the case was dismissed. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, on his record it says criminal charges. Well, no, sorry. It says charges were dismissed.
But then why was he deported?
I don't know.
Okay, so then you need a consultation. Because those two don't make any sense. If you have a green card and all the charges were dismissed, you don't have a criminal record, then you don't get deported.
Right.
Okay, if you have a green card and you're found guilty of gun or whatever it is, then you get deported. You got deported because of a crime. It can't be then all charges dismissed. So something ain't mixing there. So I think, okay, my answer to you is if the man got deported, he needs a waiver for sure. Okay, because he needs a waiver for re-entry after deportation. Does he need two waivers? Most likely, because my guess is he wouldn't have been deported unless he had a criminal record. So you're reading this wrong. It's possible. Was this in Texas, by the way? Where was this?
New York.
New York? All charges dismissed?
Yes.
I would need to see the records, because New York doesn't dismiss charges after a guilty plea. It's not expunged or anything like that. Hold on one second. All right, you need a consultation. Reading it wrong. Let's go to Miss Azar in Chantilly, Virginia.
Yes, Brad, I have a question. Yes, I'm good. How are you?
Good. What's going on?
Yes, my mother, she has green card. She filed petition for my sister in September 2016. And 10th July, we received the RFE. I responded this RFE, and the deadline for this RFE is 5th October. We respond to the RFE, submit all documents, but my concern is my sister is going to be 22 this December. Is this any way can I expedite it for RFE, or they will move him to F2B if he turns 22 this December?
Well, you get to add the time the I-130 took to get approved to his 21st birthday to keep him in the F2A category. So if when the I-130 is approved, his priority date is current, you can elect to keep him in the F2A category under the Child Status Protection Act, but you're going to need a good lawyer to do that.
But if we did not receive the response from USCIS by December, first week of December, and she turns in 22, so what will happen?
Do you know how to do math? You know how to do math? You know how to do math?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
so follow my math. You filed before she's 21. She's now over 21. That period of time that it took for the I-130 to get approved, you get to add that on to her 21st birthday. So let's say it took 2 years to get her I-130 approved, and she's now 22. You get to add 2 years onto her 21st birthday to 23 to keep her in the F2A category under the Child Status Protection Act, and she's now 22. And I'm just doing hypothetical math. But if the priority dates are current in the F2A category, for sure, when the case is approved, she would be under the Child Status Protection Act, assuming you know how to enforce it.
Okay, so we have to apply child protective status after approved, like they approve in November, December.
You have to argue it. It's not apply for it. It's you argue that she qualifies as an F2A under the Child Status Protection Act. And my guess is, and I hate to say this, but every person who has called needs a lawyer. Every person who has called me since the show has started doesn't get it and needs a lawyer. Okay? So I'm telling you the law, but I also know, based on the questions you're asking, you would have no idea what to do. So hold on 1 second. Hold on. Let's go to Paul in the Bronx. Paul.
Hi, Brett.
How are you?
Fine, thanks. I mean, I don't have a question. I'm just calling to congratulate and express you my deepest gratitude to you, Yo-Yo and Benjokim, for the hard work you're doing for us. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it. That was just a nice call. Thank you, Paul.
Really
appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. All right. He just wanted to get on the air and thank me.
Oh,
that was very nice.
Sweet.
All right. So meanwhile, it's not just Brad Bernstein here at Spar Bernstein. We have 70 plus professionals here.
Right.
So in this edition of Spar Bernstein's Attorney Close-Up, immigration attorneys Janelle Baptiste and Alexander Mercado explain the difference between being a legal permanent resident and a U.S. citizen. And we're going to be back to answer more calls in about 2 minutes, but let's watch this.
As a lawful permanent resident, you are not able to be outside of the United States for more than 6 months at a time. If you are outside of the United States for more than 6 months in a year, you can easily be considered to have abandoned your lawful permanent resident status. Whereas as a citizen of the United States, you're permitted to be outside of the United States for however long you would like without any ramification. Secondly, as a lawful permanent resident, you can still be deported under certain circumstances. If you commit certain offenses, you can lose your green card and be sent to your country of origin. As a citizen, the US is considered your home country and you can't be sent anywhere else, no matter what crime you might commit. Thirdly, as a lawful permanent resident, you cannot vote in federal elections. Doing so can actually prevent you from becoming a citizen in the future.
The biggest right that a U.S. citizen has over a permanent resident is that a U.S. citizen technically can never be deported. To be deported as a U.S. citizen, it's a process that they have to really take away your citizenship first, and it's a process that's very unheard of and very unlikely. The other big difference is that U.S. citizens can vote in federal elections and run for federal elections. Permanent residents have a great deal of rights. They're considered the stepping stone to U.S. citizenship, so it's a very important benefit to obtain in the United States. But that is really the main difference between a U.S. citizen and a permanent resident. Another difference I would say is that U.S. citizens, spouses, and children over the age of 21 can petition their family members, immediate family members, being their spouses or their parents, and they don't require certain waivers because they're excused over permanent residents. So sometimes when permanent residents petition these same people, they require certain waivers that U.S. citizens do not require.
Prior successful results do not guarantee a similar outcome in the future. All right, let's go to Jessica in St. Petersburg, Florida. Jessica. 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 All right, Jessica, hold on. Let's go to Alvin in Queens. Alvin.
Hello.
Hi, Alvin.
Hi, good night. I'm calling in on the behalf of me and my wife, right? We got married and we're going in for our interview in 2 weeks. And I would like to know, because I am on parole and I have a warrant, right? I would like to know if that would affect our interview.
Those are two different things. You're on parole and have a warrant. You have a warrant out for your arrest right now?
Yes.
Okay, if you have a warrant out for your arrest, they can come arrest you at the interview. So that's a huge problem.
Okay.
Wouldn't you, if you're presenting yourself to the federal government and you have a warrant for your arrest, don't you think somebody from government's going to be there for you?
Yeah.
Yeah, hold on. I think you need more than immigration. You need a criminal defense attorney. Hold on. Let's go to Yenny in Sarasota, Florida. Yenny.
Hi, Brad. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for asking. I have a conditional green card.
Yes.
And I wanted to know if it's easier for me to file for my 4-year-old or my husband, who's an American citizen.
The U.S. Husband will be faster.
It will be easier for my husband to do?
Correct, yes.
Okay, another question. Will the affidavit of support law change on October 15th?
That's what it looks like right now, unless there's a preliminary injunction stopping it.
Okay, and on an interview for a minor, like a green card interview for a minor, what do they normally do? Do they ask minor questions or what?
They're not going to ask a 4-year-old anything. She just has to show up and be cute.
But they will ask me questions in regards to...
Yeah, maybe, yeah, if you're bringing her in. Oh, I don't know what happened to her. We lost her. But she can call back if she'd like. Let's go to Raquel in Greenville, South Carolina. Raquel.
Hi, good day. Good night, Brad.
Good night. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Okay, so I'm calling because, I got married in 2017, February, and I sent I filed my I-130 that I was a green card holder, and I did my citizenship at the same time, but I was approved for the citizenship in 2018. So I called them and updated that my status. Now, my I-130 was approved April 2019, and they told me it was sent to the NVC, but I haven't heard anything from them since April of 2019 till now.
But you're in the United States. How come you're not adjusting your status? You're married to a citizen?
Oh, no. I am the citizen. He's in Jamaica. My husband.
Oh, misunderstood. Okay. So it got transferred to the National Visa Center since when?
April.
And you haven't heard anything?
Haven't heard anything.
Okay, that's called visa delayed as a visa denied. They're delaying you for whatever reason. You need to get in touch with them to get them moving. You got to give them a kick in the butt, or you need to hire a lawyer to give them a kick in the butt.
Okay, and how do I get in touch with them?
Call them. Write them a letter.
Say, the NVC?
The National Visa Center, right. You write them a letter. They're in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. You say, here's my approval letter. Where's my packet 3? Where's my fee bills? Let's get this thing moving.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Appreciate that.
You're welcome. All right. Let's go to Thaxter in Orange, New Jersey. Thaxter.
Yeah, good evening, Ben.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. My issue is, I have a question. I applied to adjust my status. My husband did it for me. He's a citizen. But I had moved, and I guess they said that I didn't update the address correctly. So I had to file over. Thing is, I filed over and everything. I got the receipt number. But is it possible for me to get a driver's license until I get the work permit?
You need the work permit and social to get a driver's license.
Okay.
All All right, so hang in there, and hopefully you'll get it soon.
You know how long it takes? Cause I got the receipt a month ago.
6 months.
Okay.
All right, sorry about that, but that's what it is.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, let's go to Franklin in Newark. Franklin.
Yeah, hello?
How are you, Franklin?
I'm fine. Good evening.
How are you?
I'm good. Please, I'm married to a U.S. citizen. Okay, I applied for application for employment authorization.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's almost like 60 days, like 65 days. But I haven't gotten no reply. Like,
right.
They haven't update in the website when I check it.
Did you get a receipt?
Yeah, I got the receipt.
Right.
I did my fingerprint already.
They're supposed to do it in 90 days. They're taking over 180 days to do it these days. It's just welcome to Donald Trump land.
Okay.
Just hang in there.
But maybe, am I going to get maybe like any updates at USCIS website?
No, don't rely on the website to be up to date.
Oh, okay.
All right.
All right.
All right. Let's go back to Jessica in St. Petersburg, Florida. Jessica.
Hello.
How are you, Jessica?
Hi, I'm good. How are you, Brad?
Good. What's going on?
I just want to know how long will it take. I'm in Florida. I got married in Florida to a U.S. citizen. I want to know how long it would take to divorce without kids.
To do a divorce?
Yeah.
In Florida?
Yeah.
I don't know. 6 months? I don't know what an uncontested divorce in Florida takes. It depends on what county it is, but I would guess 6 months, 5 months. I don't know for sure because I don't do divorces in Florida. But if I had to take a guess.
Okay.
All right. Anything else?
You don't do it for...
I don't.
No,
I'm an
that's all.
immigration attorney in the United States. I could do a divorce in New York if I had to, but I don't do divorces in Florida. But my guess is 6 months.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. You know, many people do not realize that an undocumented person working construction who has been injured on the job site has the same rights to compensation as a U.S. citizen. Today, I'm speaking with Spar and Bernstein personal injury attorney and partner Moshe the Bulldozer Baruch about what to do if you're an undocumented construction worker injured on the job. Let's watch. Every year, 10% of construction workers throughout the United States of America get injured on the job. According to the Census of Fatal Occupational Injuries in 2017 alone, 5,147 construction workers died on the job. When an accident leaves a construction worker incapacitated, they and their families lose the financial security they once had. A good attorney is needed to make sure that the injured parties are compensated to the highest level, because most of the time, they will never be able to work again. And there is one bite of the apple when it comes to fighting for compensation in a courtroom. With me to discuss what to do if you or a loved one is involved in a job construction accident is Spar and Bernstein's very own personal injury attorney partner, Moshe the Bulldozer Baruch. Moshe, how are you?
Good to be here.
So Moshe, we've talked about in the past how important it is to use your cell phone as part of your case to prepare yourself for your case. God forbid you're in a construction accident. You use your cell phone to call an ambulance so they can document where the accident happened. You use your cell phone to take pictures. Let me ask you a question. There are people out there who may be U.S. citizens or lawful permanent residents who are getting paid cash. They're working off the books. Or people who are undocumented working off the books. How is using a cell phone going to help these people, and why is it even more important for people who are off the books or who are undocumented and are working to use their cell phone, God forbid they're injured in an accident?
So an undocumented person has the exact same rights as a legal citizen here in the United States of America. Although it's more difficult to prove as an undocumented person that you were hired by an employer, for example. And so when you have a video, when you have a phone, which is the most effective weapon you have with you when you get injured in a construction accident, you take out the phone and start videotaping everything around you. If you can, you'll show that you're in the construction site, you're working there, and if something fell, for example, a ladder or a scaffold, you have evidence of that. And so there's no dispute that you were hired by somebody to work.
The biggest defense, one of the biggest defenses, the number one defense for people who don't have a record of being at that construction site because their colleagues drove them to the hospital, or because they were undocumented and didn't have, and were not on payroll, or American citizens are not on payroll, is the number one defense is, this person doesn't work for us. What are you talking about? So you need to document that you were hired and you were physically there on this job site at the moment this accident happened. That's what Moshe is saying.
Exactly. One of the first hurdles you have to overcome in a labor law construction accident case is you have to prove that you were hired by somebody or an organization to work at this specific construction site. And if you're getting paid in cash, a lot of people assume that, well, if I'm getting paid cash, then I can't prove that I was hired by somebody. That is incorrect. If you have good lawyers, we can make sure that we can prove that you were hired by somebody. And we do that by using this very simple
let me just make this clear. And Moshe, correct me if I'm wrong. If you're getting paid off the books or you're undocumented, does that make your case any less worthwhile? Should you be scared to walk into a courtroom?
Absolutely not. If you have good lawyers, you'll never have to worry about that. A lot of people lie and they say if you're an undocumented person, you should not make a claim, for example, for workers' compensation benefits. That is the falsest thing I have heard when it comes to a personal injury case in a construction accident.
And now people may say, well, I don't want to get deported. What do you say about that?
If you have our lawyers here at Spar and Bernstein, in addition to the personal injury lawyers here, we have your department, the immigration department, and we will make sure that that never happens.
I can assure you that if you get injured in an accident, you're not going to get deported.
It'll never happen.
I can assure you that. It's not going to happen. Moshe, tell us about a situation if you had somebody who was undocumented or somebody who was a U.S. citizen or lawful permanent resident working off the books. They didn't have a record of employment. Tell us about how you represented them, and hopefully you have a good success story to tell us about.
Absolutely. We had a case where a person just came to the United States. He was undocumented. He was terrified of making a claim for personal injuries when he was involved in a construction
Where was he
accident.
from?
He was from Jamaica. And what happened was he was hesitant to come to us because he was afraid that he might get deported. He was afraid that his employer might call ICE or what have you. And so when he came to us, I think I even introduced him to you, and you took care of his immigration matter.
And he got injured on the job.
He did. He got injured on the job. The defendants, when we filed a lawsuit, said, well, because he's an undocumented person, he wasn't able to make a claim for lost wages in the future because he couldn't prove that he was being paid by his employer. But because of us, because of the great personal injury lawyers we have here at Spar and Bernstein, we convinced the judge that that's nonsense. We successfully got him any back pay that he was entitled to.
Well, that's an amazing job. And God forbid you or anybody is injured in an accident, you need really good attorneys to represent you. You only have one shot to make all of your income. If you think about it, you get injured in an accident when you're 40 years old. You have 30 years of employment. So you're making $50,000 a year. That's $1.5 million in lost wages, plus inflation, plus your medical bills and everything else. It adds up very fast to millions and millions and millions of dollars. And God forbid you get into an accident, and even more, God forbid, you hire the wrong attorney. You only have one shot at getting the most money you can. So please save our telephone number. It's 1-800-529-5465. That's 1-800-529-5465. God forbid you or anyone you know gets into an accident, make sure they call us right away. And as you just learned from Moshe, whether you're documented, you're undocumented, you're on the books, you're off the books. If you get hurt on the job, you have a case, but you got to document it with your phone. And then you got to call your lawyer, Moshe the Bulldozer. Moshe, thanks a lot.
Thank you, Brett.
And we'll see you soon. Prior successful results do not guarantee a similar outcome in the future. And I forgot who just asked, but somebody just asked, does this apply only to construction workers? The fact that you are out of status, that applies across the board, especially in New York State. If you're out of status, you're entitled to go into court and sue for your injuries, just like you're entitled to go to court and do a divorce. You're entitled to all of the protections of the law, whether you are documented or not, in any sort of personal injury case. The court is not going to look at you differently because you're documented or not documented. And the nice thing about here at Spar and Bernstein is we have the immigration attorneys to protect you. And Belgium Kim and Jonathan Yo-Yo Elias, one last words of advice before we go into our social media check-in.
make sure that if you are watching us on Facebook, you are starting a watch party. You're going to be the king or queen of your castle, fam. You're going to be the fourth host on this show, the fourth cast member of Bradshaw Live, and the only way you can do that is by hitting share, start a watch party. You're basically hosting the hosts. You're telling all of your people in the comments, this is Bradshaw Live and this is why I love it, and make sure to follow their page. And once you're doing that, you're going to come back to all these comments and join back in on the fun. But make sure that you've hit that share button and you've started a watch party, because that's how all of your friends are going to get notifications. Also, if you're feeling fancy, you can send it as a private DM or into groups that you're members of. But family, we've cracked the code. We're pushing it real hard. Start that watch party. Yo, YouTube has something like this too, right?
On YouTube, you guys definitely have something, but it's a little easier, like Kim said earlier. All you really have to do right now, what we want you to do is click the thumbs up. I see 114 thumbs up, but 226 people watching. So what I need you guys to do is flood the thumbs up button right now. Literally, that gray thumbs up, click it until it turns blue. Just one click, all right? And of course, share, copy the link and share it to anybody you want as well. But right now, I want you guys to flood and click that thumbs up, all right? Now, this is what you guys have been waiting for. It's the next segment where we are answering social media check-ins.
We're answering social media check-in. Usually what we like to say is, let's do some social media check-in.
There you go. I've never actually said that. So I was like,
yeah, you're like,
wait, what am I supposed to say here?
Yes.
Jan and I have swapped it up today, and it is really messing with our intros to the segment.
That.
You know what? You gotta be able to do everybody's job. Right?
Yeah,
you never know, right?
It's true.
All right, let's go into social media check-in. What do we got?
All right, our first one comes from a Real New Moon. This is our Brad Squatter. Like we said before, if you guys join the Brad Squad group on Facebook, the first 5 questions that we ask every day are from that group. It's guaranteed. So this is, I had my marriage-based AOS September 11th. The case was on review. On the 4th of October, 3 weeks after the interview, I checked my status. My I-175 employment authorization updated to new card was ordered. My question is, why is my EAD coming after the interview? And when the interview is still on review, should I be worried about about the reviewing case, or what should I expect from USCIS?
Well, you can expect one of 3 things on review. 1, your case is approved. 2, your case is denied. Or 3, no response whatsoever. And if a no response whatsoever, they have actually 120. Actually, there's 4 choices. There's your case is approved, your case is denied, you're going to get a Stokes interview, or you get no response. Hopefully you get either a second interview, or more likely, or hopefully an approval. If you get a denial, then you obviously got to deal with it. You also have to deal with a no response. A no response is they just leave your case pending forever. And that, to me, a no response is like a denial, because a visa delayed is a visa denied. So you got to deal with those different options depending on how they come in. So you got to see what's going to happen. In the meantime, be happy you're getting your work permit, so at least you can work legally, get your social, and hopefully it's a combo card and you're able to travel too.
Our next question comes from One Block, who said, "This is a great show." Well, that's not a question, but thanks, One Block. If I filed an I-751 and I divorced after filing, should I tell USCIS or just wait when I get my 10-year?
No, tell them, because if you get your 10-year and you are divorced and they think that you are married, then you're committing a fraud and you're going to have a problem with your citizenship. So once you are divorced, or once you even start the process of divorcing, you got to write immigration. You got to tell them you're in the process of getting divorced, you are divorced, and convert the case to a waiver based on a bona fide marriage that terminated.
All right, before I ask this question quickly, I want to say there are people saying, please don't forget my question. I asked it, and we did talk to you guys and say what we do is first come, first serve, but we have to reiterate, you guys, it is first come, first serve with social media questions. That's why you guys are actually a little luckier than the people that call in, because you could literally just log on at the very beginning of the show and put in your social media question. So please understand that it's first come, first serve, unless you join the Brad Squad group. then it's the first 5 people. Listen, we give you guys options, all right? So please don't get mad if your questions don't get answered. So our next one is Max Santos saying, my joint sponsor last year had made enough money to sponsor me, but since December 2018, she's not working because of her school. Can she still sponsor me?
Yes, but if she's not working for the last year and a half, she doesn't sound like a very good joint sponsor. I would look for somebody else.
Tanny said, I just got my green card and was wondering if it's safe for mom to go to the embassy and try for her visa or if there's going to be an issue.
No, let her try.
Oscar saying, hey, sensei.
Yes, my young Padawan.
Not a Padawan. I'm so dead.
Right. 2 questions. Can the joint sponsor be the one that makes the $60,000 or the main sponsor? And also, would you expedite removal come up on an FBI fingerprint search?
It would come up on an expedited removal would come up on a fingerprint search because you got fingerprinted if you had an expedited removal. Somebody's got to make money. So whether it's the main person or the joint sponsor, we don't care, but somebody's got to be making the money.
Miles 7's got a question from a friend. I've got 4 children with my previous wife, but we've gotten divorced now, and I'm now living with my current wife in New York, and she's got 1 child. But my ex-wife is now living in New Jersey with the children, and I'm doing everything for the children in terms of their needs. Should I be worried because myself and my U.S. citizen spouse are going to be attending the green card interview on Thursday?
What seems to be the problem?
So it sounds like his ex-wife has custody of the children, but he pays child support, I want to say, because it says my divorced wife, my ex-wife is living in New Jersey with the children, and I'm doing everything for the children in terms of their needs.
Yeah.
So it sounds like he just doesn't have custody of his children, and it sounds like he's wondering whether that's going to be an issue.
No.
All right, next one, Natasha is saying, I got a prima facie determination. What does this mean?
It means that immigration looked at your VAWA case, and based on just looking at it, seems like everything's in order, but they got to take a closer look to get the approval.
Alti Morris said, my friend needs to have her mom co-sign the affidavit of support. However, her mom died. What steps can she take to complete the process? And she's already paid the processing fees. And so the next step was just to go to interview. So what does she do now?
What do you mean co-sign an affidavit of support if your mom's the petitioner? If your mom's the petitioner, you got to substitute a new petitioner in. If your mom had nothing to do with this petition, then you need to find another co-sponsor.
Okay.
All right, Felix Michelle is saying, what if my husband is not making enough to sponsor me on the I-864 and a family member is willing to sponsor me? Is my husband still required to complete and submit an I-864 showing his income?
Yes. Yes.
Jay Barth said, my brother overstayed his visa and is in an ICE detention center for domestic violence with his wife. Could he escape having to be deported by fighting his case?
If his wife wants to help him and they make up, yes. But if not, he's going to get deported.
Shankar is saying, my brother's I-130 is approved on 2014 March. Now he has a fiance here in the USA and she wants to apply for a fiance visa. Is there any problem applying for a fiance visa while the I-130 approved is pending?
No, you can have multiple ways to get a green card, whichever comes in first.
Sheena said, in my previous marriage, my husband had started the process to file for me for a green card, but the marriage was not working out. So I filed for divorce and I did not follow up with the paperwork. Now I'm planning to remarry and my future husband would like to adjust my status for me. How do I approach the previous case and would it require a lawyer? And if so, how can I hire you?
Well, you can call 1-800-529-5465. And as a lawyer, I always say you need a lawyer. But that's a lawyer saying you need a lawyer. But how do you approach the prior case? You had a prior filing. It didn't work out. And now you're filing again. You're allowed to file multiple times to try to get a green card as long as there's no fraud involved.
All right, nicely saying, can I get a driver's license with a pending case my husband filed for me?
No, you need a work permit and a social.
Our next question, sorry, I was mesmerized by the amount of watch parties that you guys have started, and it shows. Thank you, family.
439 viewers on Facebook alone just because of those watch parties.
To all the new people watching, make sure to like our page and hit that bell so you don't miss another episode. Nicely, Keisha said, can I get a driver's license with a pending case if my husband filed for me?
We just answered that.
Kavisha said, can my stepmother sponsor me to come to the U.S. because my father died? And if so, what must she do?
If your stepmother married your father before you were 18, she can sponsor you, and you just have to show that you have an independent relationship with your stepmom.
All right. Yeah, Claudette saying, should my husband get a job letter to submit with affidavit for me? He's currently working out of the country.
Yes.
Nabil said, I recently became a U.S. citizen and I want to sponsor my spouse when I get married, but I'm enrolled under Medicaid. Is that going to affect the sponsorship?
Yes.
Missy Jam saying, I submitted my adjustment of status via marriage, but I didn't submit a medical. And with all these changes, I'm scared USCIS might not send out the request for it. Should I just go ahead and submit it now?
No, do not submit it unless you get a request. And if you don't get a request, bring it to the interview.
Our next question comes from Aman, who said, I married a U.S. citizen under 30 days on an ESTA visa. I already overstayed, and my lawyer told me not to file the adjustment because in the interview, they're going to deport me because of the 90-day rule. Is that true? And if so, what's your solution?
She got married when?
On an ESTA and under 30 days.
You need a waiver. So your choice is this. You could live illegally in America forever, or you can file an adjustment and a waiver and do the best you can. Those are your choices.
Why would the lawyer just say don't file anything?
That doesn't make any sense.
That's such an odd lawyer.
That's like running away from your problems. Then
if I don't see it, they won't see it.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Just go.
Yeah, I mean,
you already broke the law. Don't worry about it anymore.
Just live here illegally forever.
Right.
No, thank you for the question, Aman. That was terrible advice at first.
All right. Ever tweet saying, asking for a friend. He submitted an I-130 for his wife last week, and he would like to know if the new rule on October 15th will affect him.
Yes.
Kiski Taylor said, can I use a social security number? I got on a J1 program to file taxes with my U.S. spouse in January, and we have not submitted the paperwork as of yet. My husband got an impromptu deployment right after our marriage until February 2020.
Well, send the paperwork to your husband wherever he is in his impromptu deployment and put in the paperwork for the adjustment so you can get a work permit and your social. And if you get an interview before he comes back from his impromptu deployment, then just show that he's impromptu deployed somewhere, and they'll reschedule for when he comes back.
All right, and our last question for right now comes from Jad saying, I have a question. I applied for a VAWA in October 15, 2018, and still in process. Can I apply for a matter of cesse? And the same time, I entered the U.S. with a K1.
If you entered, you do matter of cesse if you're not with your spouse anymore. So is he with your spouse?
Does not say.
Okay. So matter of cesse has to do with you're not with your spouse. Doesn't have to do with the length of time your adjustment is taking. Okay. So with that, that's it?
That's it for right now.
Huh. Okay. Meanwhile, Honduras has one of the highest femicide rates in the world. In 2015, the global burden of armed violence database rated Honduras with the third highest female homicide rate in the world. I recently spoke to a true champion of justice, Gracie Murphy, who is the founder of the Heart of Christ Ministries in Honduras and works with victims of violence, particularly women and girls. Gracie created the first ever special victims unit in the country and is the author of a new book titled Journey to Justice, Finding God and Destiny in Darkness. Let's watch. According to the United Nations, the Central American country of Honduras is one of the most dangerous countries in the world for women. The number of U.S. asylum seekers from Honduras and neighboring El Salvador and Guatemala has increased by 500% since 2008. For many of the women making the journey to the southern border, it is not about escaping poverty. It is a matter of life and death. Gracie Murphy is the founder of Heart of Christ Ministries in Honduras that works with national and international authorities to aid victims of violence. Gracie is American and has been living in Honduras since 2005. She created the first ever special victims unit for Honduras and is the author of a new book titled Journey to Justice, Finding God and Destiny in Darkness. Gracie joins me today to discuss her very important work. Gracie, thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
And you are in Honduras at the moment, right? Where in Honduras are you?
We are about 30 miles north of the capital city of Tegucigalpa on the road to Olancho.
What led you to Honduras?
Well, we had come in 2004 for a 10-day missionary trip. I was a journalist prior to coming. And when we left, we were feeling like we were leaving home, not going home. And when my husband and I returned with the group, After a couple days, we sat down to talk and found out that both of us were feeling the same way. And we prayed about it and felt that we needed to sell everything and leave everything behind and move here. And a year later, we were here. We landed on June 28, 2005.
Wow. What should we know about women living in Honduras and the violence that's happening there?
Honduras is a country that has a machismo attitude in which the woman and the children are property of the man, like the pigs and the dogs in the yard. And there's this belief that the man can do anything that they want with the woman. The violence against women is tremendous. When we began, there were about 185 femicides, that's murders of women in Honduras, per year. Since we've been here, more than 5,000 women have been murdered, and they don't have any justice. 94 to 96% of all cases of special crimes go unpunished in Honduras, according to the United Nations.
So you started an organization in Honduras there. It's called Hearts of Christ. Tell me what that organization is about and tell me what you do there.
We work with vulnerable groups, women, children, elderly, disabled, LGBT groups, indigenous groups that suffer violence in the country. We work with the authorities, with the police, the investigators, the prosecutors, the judges, to help the client through the legal process of their case. We also have a home for girls pregnant by rape and incest, and we have an emergency crisis refuge. We have the crisis office, and we're building a justice center. So basically, we work with the woman or the child or the person who is a member of a vulnerable group at the moment that they put in their report to the police, or they come to us and we go with them to the police, help them through the entire process, give them shelter, provide needs that they may have at the time. And we also train the authorities to know what the laws and the procedures are and how to treat victims of violence.
How is your relationship with the authorities there in Honduras?
Well, it's hard to describe the government or the authorities in one group. We have some who do want to help us and work side by side with us, and then we have others who sabotage us and try to cause us harm. So the ministry actually exists because the police came to us in 2005 and asked me to create this program for victims of violence. They told me that I was now chief of special crimes of the first special crimes office in the country, and that there were police under my command. They didn't ask. It was, I guess, decided by them. And we did the work. We had tremendous success because in Honduras, more than 70% of women and children suffer some form of violence. And overall, because of a culture not to report and because of a culture of revenge and because of the negligence and corruption, people don't report crimes. So only about 30% or less of special crimes are reported. Less than 12% make it to the court. Less than 1%, or as the United Nations says, 4 to 6% receive justice in their cases. And we had such success that we had increased the number of reports to over 90%, with a 71% conviction rate. And that was great, but during the process, there would be family members or friends of the perpetrator who would be angry that we were working to empower this justice, and they would actually try to kill me. Basically, when we got to 71% conviction rate, the 29% of cases that we can't get done in the court, we know who the criminal is but can't find him, or we don't know who he is, or it's negligence and corruption. And when I started filing corruption and negligence reports, then the order to assassinate me by the government came out.
Do you have protection right now?
My walls, my cameras, my security guard, my dogs.
You have a security,
the Lord.
You have a security guard.
Yes, we have security guards.
What would happen to the perpetrator in 2005 before you arrived? Was there any justice? There was no justice.
No, if they went to the police, a lot of times the police would re-victimize the woman and send her away, that it was her fault. They wouldn't know what to do, and so they'd mishandle the case. If they did take the report, many times, most of the time, the report was never submitted to the judge. A protection order was never put into place. The procedures of the law were not followed properly.
So there was a reluctance to report a crime because nothing would happen. Mm-hmm. So now, when you came, how did you get teeth into the prosecution of a crime? What did you do that somebody was actually getting arrested?
I was actually in the office in the police station. They'd given me an office in the police station with police officers. So when the victims or clients would arrive, we would walk with them through the process and make sure that the police did their job, make sure that the investigators did their job. We would harass them and say, when are you going out to the crime scene? When are we getting the arrest warrant? When are you giving the case to the prosecutor? We go to the prosecutor, when are you sending it into the judge for the arrest warrant? The arrest warrant would come in, I'd go to the colonel. When we had a good colonel, when we had bad colonels, we had no help. When we had a good colonel, I'd say, hey, we got the arrest warrant for this, can we get a team? I actually was active in every single case.
So in 2005, there were laws, nobody was doing anything with those laws.
Yeah, it's the same now.
It's the same laws as in 2005. It's just now maybe there's a little more enforcement because you're literally standing on top of people.
Well, you see, they made me chief of special crimes for 3 states. In the 3 states that we were working in, and then the one other office that we worked with, the woman who worked nationally, we were making progress. It was a struggle. Every case was a fight. We handled over 6,000 cases between 2006 and 2011. Outside of that area, it was still the same as it was before. And then in 2011, we had to close our offices because of the order to assassinate me. And everything went back nationally to the way it was before. We now have reopened the office in September of 2018, and we're starting to get back into the swing of doing the cases. But it's only in the area that we're in. Right now, we have an 85% conviction rate.
How do you educate people who were victims of violence to come forward?
Well, first of all, we have a radio show to over 500,000 listeners in our area to teach them about violence and what to do and let them know that we're here. We also go into the communities and teach the leaders, and we go into the schools with the kids and the parents. And then we walk with them side by side through the process. So when they go to the police to put in their report, we're with them when they're doing that. When they go to forensics to have their forensic evaluation, we're holding their hand. When they go to court, we're with them. And we maintain communication with them. Sometimes they're brought into our shelter, so we're taking care of them 24 hours a day.
Now, there was a horrific murder of Miss Honduras in 2014. Tell me about her murder. What happened?
She was at a party with her sister. It was a birthday party. I don't remember who it was for. And her sister's boyfriend did not like how she was dancing with another man or talking to another man. So he shot her dead. And when Miss Honduras went to run, he shot her dead. They did not find their bodies for a while. And I don't want to graphically say what was done with them because this is television. But they don't just kill people here. They have really barbaric ways of doing things with the bodies.
So what is this mentality of people who are doing this about abusing, beating women? Where's this mentality coming from?
It's a history of machismo. It began with the Spanish conquistadors and the power and the control over the people and just the belief that the man is the one who has the ultimate power. It's like machismo on steroids, especially with gang members or drug traffickers or people involved in organized crime or somebody who holds a powerful position. Everything they own, it belongs to them. It's almost like a sexual terrorism against women and children in this country. A woman could be walking down the street and the men are catcalling her. She could be grabbed off the side of the road and raped, gang raped by everybody and then thrown back on the road. Or the man may have a wife and he has 5 girlfriends, but his wife he abuses and the girlfriends he abuses. There's just this strange mentality of machismo in which they own everything and the brute force.
Is there a way for a woman to protect herself in Honduras, or is it impossible? Like you can't leave the house, or even if you're in your house, you got to be worried about your boyfriend or your husband or a neighbor?
It's difficult because it's ingrained in the culture that the woman believes that this is normal behavior. And that's one of the other reasons why they don't report, because it's normal. The man, he's my husband, I have to. I'll give you an example of a case. This American called me because there was a woman in her church, and the woman had been married to her husband and had 2 children for 4 years. He would not let her leave the house unless he knew where she was going. He made her wear what he decided. He didn't allow her to have contact with family members. He beat her. He psychologically abused her, and he raped her. And he would watch pornography and make her perform what he saw in pornography. She went to her pastor and his wife for help. And the pastor and his wife told her that her job was to endure his violence and pray for him that God would change him. That's the type of attitude there is here.
Wow. Now, what happened to this woman?
The American and we found that we had a 90-minute window to snatch her out. The woman was 3 hours from me. And so she took a taxi to meet the American at a location, who then drove her through the mountains to the Capitol, and I grabbed the woman from her there. And we went through court, and the woman eventually went home. She won her court case. However, the church and the neighbors and his family continued bothering her. She had nowhere to go, and she actually ended up in one of the caravans, and she's currently in the United States seeking asylum.
Now, you have a book out, Journey to Justice, Finding God and Destiny in Darkness. Tell me about your book and what you're writing in it.
There's actually 3 themes in the book. One of them is about God's heart for justice, that it's the second most prominent theme in the Bible, and he wants us all to be a part of justice and making things right. There's a Hebrew word, mishpat, that is how society treats the vulnerable. And a person who is not treating vulnerable people correctly is actually violating justice. They're not just negligent, they're actually violating justice. So this story talks about God's heart for justice, but it talks about how someone like me who has a history of having been a victim of violence multiple times, how God can use a person like that to make a change in a nation. And it's a story about how this ministry came to be, of 2 people who came not knowing what we're going to do. One door opened, another door opened. We said yes, and we got to work. And now we're an international ministry working for justice programs throughout all of Latin America.
Now, there's a woman in your book who said she didn't know that freedom smelled so good. Tell me about this woman.
Oh my gosh, that was so early in the office. Her sister came to see us saying that her sister's husband was abusing her, and she and her daughter were in hiding, and he was threatening to kill her. He would bust into the family's house and say he would murder everybody in the house if they didn't bring her to him. So the sister took us to her, and she wouldn't come out. She was hiding in this hot little adobe shack with a tin roof and a dirt floor on the side of a mountain, terrified to come out. We talked with her and we prayed with her. She had a daughter there who was 16, and he had actually sexually abused his own daughter also. We finally convinced her that we could help her, and the story's detailed there. I remember that last day in the car after court and her telling me, "Tell everyone my story. I never knew that freedom smelled so good. And I never knew that freedom had a smell." I think one of the most significant things in the story for me was that this is the property. This is the owning the woman. He carved his name in her back with a machete twice so no other man would have her. And that was just, I think that just stuck in my mind forever. I can't get the picture out of my head of her back.
Now, it kind of leads me to what's going on today at the border in the United States. You know, people across Central America into Mexico, perhaps be raped or beaten on the way to then sit at the border, have their children ripped from their arms, sit in a jail. Somebody only does that because it's so horrible where they are. What can we do as Americans to educate other Americans who may be more naive about why people are coming? And 2, what can Honduras do to make that society a better society so they don't have to flee?
The first question I would say is the media needs to talk with people who know what it's really like here. Every day that I leave, I pray that I come home alive. My husband prays that I come home alive. It's a violent place, and I believe the biggest challenge we have is getting the judge to understand what it's like here. People in the United States, when they look at Honduras and they think about a country, they're thinking from their own perspective, and they don't realize the truth of what's going on. I'm going to be starting a podcast soon to talk about what's going on in Honduras. But the media in itself needs to talk with people who are here who can tell Americans what it's really like. This is a difficult situation, and a lot of people are on one side or the other side, the extremes. The answer is actually in the middle. Okay, it's not letting everybody in, it's not letting nobody in. It's fixing the problem. So, for example, asylum cases, they have to land on U.S. soil in order to ask for asylum. If the U.S. government could work with people like us, who worked with someone like Bracy, who was the story I told you about, or another case, Erica, that I had, Erica had a store in her house and MS-13 demanded renta. She couldn't pay. They shot her son dead on December 20th, 2017. They came back on New Year's Eve and shot her mother dead, and then she came to us and was in refuge. And we couldn't get any help for her to get asylum. They were hunting her. And she ended up in a caravan and is in the United States. And every day she would text me, "Help me, we have no food, I'm scared, I'm frightened," you know, all of these things. So if the U.S. government could work with missionaries and NGOs and other people who are on the ground doing this work, so that we can say, yes, this is an asylum case. Here's the police report for this murder. Here's the police report for this murder. Here's the threat. And then we could help them get there, and they wouldn't have to go in a caravan. There are other things they could do with work visas for people who are poor, because you can't get a work visa unless you have a great talent to do something that American couldn't do. There should be some way that we could do, like, my idea would be like a 3-month work visa every year that could be renewed if they went home and didn't commit a crime. There are ways to fix this, but it's so difficult. I think the beginning thing is having the conversations, having those difficult conversations where we can sit down and not attack each other because someone might believe differently than us. And the government needs to sit down, the U.S. government, and do something about this crisis.
What do you say to an American? They say, okay, well, we just heard you say about all this whole machismo culture and all the men. Why do we want, I understand the women are escaping violence, and now you're saying, okay, give work visas to the men. We don't want these machismo men coming over and thinking that women in America are their property.
You're right about that.
Right.
And so, that's part of the process of vetting the people, to make sure that we're not having somebody who has a history of violence come in. The idea is to fix the problem here. There are a lot of NGOs who are trying to fix the problem here. Like, our funding is all donations from individuals and churches. We receive not one red cent from any government.
How many women do you see go through the process that your organization helps?
Full services, I would say probably 200 or 300 a year, not counting the children. When we had the office inside the police, we were handling over 600 cases a year. That included the woman and the children, not counting individuals, just per case. We're not fully up to that operations that we're at before, because we're rebuilding that part of the work. So imagine that, 6,000 cases between February of 2006 and November of 2011. 6,000 cases, and they could have 1 to 10 people involved in every case. Just recently, we had a case of three 12 and 13-year-old girls that we rescued out of sex trafficking at the moment they were being sold, I believe, of all things, to an American.
Wow. How frustrating must be for you that you're there, you gave your life calling to this, and in 14 years you've helped individual people, but you see society, if anything, getting worse, not better.
That's a key point. I thought about that the other day. We've been here and it's gotten worse, not better. In the 14 years, today it's worse than the day that we arrived. Significantly worse, like hundreds of times worse than it was when we arrived. But I do have hope, because there are people within the authorities that work alongside of us, and we're fighting and we're struggling. There's the office agenda in the police. She's amazing and she works with us. But the problem is the drugs and the gangs and the corruption. That's the problem. If that could be fixed and society could have funds into programs that actually are effective, then everything would change.
If you had a magic wand and you were given a blank check to spend as much money as you need to fix this problem, how much money would you need, and where would you put it, and to fix what problems?
I would make sure there are funded multiple refuges around the country for women in crisis in the moment of crisis. Right now there's only a handful that are severely underfunded. The second thing, wave my magic wand that the corruption within the authorities would be eliminated. And the other thing is intensive trainings of special units that have the power to attend victims of special crimes. Right now, it's not seen as a priority. The members in investigation and even in the prosecutor's office, there are a lot of people who do care, but there are a lot of people who don't care and are corrupt, and a lot who don't know what to do. Right. But if we could have these effective special victims units teams, they exist, but they're underfunded, undertrained, undersupplied, and are running into the corruption issue.
Yeah. Well, Gracie, I got one last question for you. And tell me what the American dream means to you.
I love America. I love Honduras. I love the people in both places. For me, the American dream is living a life, doing something that you absolutely love, living a level of income in which you have everything you need. But more than anything else is that what you're doing is impacting this world to make it better. That's, for me, is the American dream.
Thank you very much, Gracie Murphy, author of Journey to Justice, Finding God and Destiny in Darkness, also founder of Hearts of Christ Missionary in Honduras. You're doing an amazing job. Thank you very much for your time. I hope things get better there.
And I want to thank you for giving this space for these difficult discussions, for caring about it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Gracie. All right, so we have some more questions on social media. Let's get to it, Belgium Kim and Jonathan Yo-Yo Elias.
All right, our first one comes from Samora saying, I have a question. My niece was married, living in the U.S., and did her interviews, but on the second one, her husband told immigration he was doing her a favor and was helping her out, but did so because he thought that she was leaving him, and she got a letter telling her to leave the country in 31 days. Now her husband is sorry that he did that. Dang.
He totally screwed up because he admitted to a business marriage.
Right. So what can they do now?
So they have to refile again, and he has to come in, and basically the burden is on them now to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that this is a bona fide marriage and that he did it because they were in a fight and he wanted to punish her. But really, he punished her for life because as soon as he admits that it's a business marriage or something other than for love, they're going to deport her.
Yeah, that's kind of trifling.
Belgium Kim.
That's right. Our next question comes from It's Me, Edwidge, who said, I asked if the new rule would affect me. If my K-1 visa is sent before October 15th, but...
because you're going for your interview after October 15th at the U.S. Embassy. The only time it doesn't affect you is if your adjustment is filed before October 15th.
All right, Layla saying, I'm a green card holder. I qualify for financial assistance through hospital to pay me and pay my hospital bills. Is that because any public charge for my son who I applied for last year, he's 19?
Yes, it will apply after the 15th of October.
Our next question from Debbie said, if you got married before October 15th but don't put in your documents, will the October 15th affect your processing?
Yes, it will.
Okay, DG saying, I lost my green card and had to apply for a replacement. Will the expiration date still be the same, or will it start from when they send me the new one?
The expiration date will be the same.
Kay said, I'm on removal through asylum. 4 years ago, we entered Mexico by mistake, but they let me through after 4 hours. Now I want to file the I-130, and I requested the I-94, but they only have my old one. What should I do?
You need to do a FOIA to get all your records.
Okay, Binta saying, will I be denied a green card if my husband cannot find his original citizen certificate, citizenship certificate, and the birth paper? He has copies.
So you can submit with copies, but then you got to go back to vital statistics from whatever country you came from and get originals for the interview.
D said, is there a new rule that came out over the weekend concerning applicants who filed their waivers to go to Barbados? Are they going to need a medical insurance? I know that you can get medical insurance if you're legal.
There's new rules that Donald Trump came up with on Friday that says anybody who's going for an interview after November 3rd will need medical insurance when they arrive in the United States, or a job that offers them medical insurance within 30 days of their entry. Otherwise, they'll be denied. I think that is going to be challenged in court. Individually, I know my office would challenge those in court. I think we would win. I probably is going to be some sort of class action lawsuit for a preliminary injunction as well.
All right, Tammy King saying, I'm filing for my spouse concurrent. We are adding my stepdaughter who is in Jamaica. Do I need to submit a separate I-130 for her
Yes.
or have her on his documents as derivative good enough?
No, separate I-130 if you're a U.S. citizen.
KZ said, I applied for my adjustment of status in May of 2019 and my interview is just 2 weeks away. Could I apply for VAWA at the interview, or should I do it before? I've got an order of protection against my U.S. citizen husband.
Do it before, so when you go on the interview, you can go with a receipt for the I-360 and they can keep your adjustment open. Otherwise, they're going to deny your adjustment. You're going to have to pay filing fees all over again.
Okay, Harper saying, my I-485 has been in the status interview was complete and my case must be reviewed. That was the quotes. For 3 weeks post-interview. Now, the I-130 was approved within days. Can anything be done before the 120 days?
No, that you have to give the government 120 days. After that, you have two choices. Sit on your hands or file a mandamus.
And our final question before our social media speed round is from Warrior Princess love you, Zena, who said, I got married to a U.S. citizen and I filed the I-130, the I-485, and the I-765, and now I went and did my biometrics, so I'd like to know if I can work until my papers are approved or until I get my work permit or social security number.
If you work out of status or work without authorization and you're married to a U.S. citizen, it's not going to bar you from getting a green card, so go work to your heart's content, as far as I'm concerned. One more thing before we go into our social media, into our speed round, because we just finished social media. If you didn't get your question answered, you can always follow me on Instagram at @RealBradBernstein. If you are part of Brad Squad, and Belgium Kim will tell you how to become part of the Brad Squad in about 15 seconds. If you are part of the Brad Squad, I know who you are. I'm happy to answer your question. Send me a DM through Instagram at @RealBradBernstein. If you're not part of the Brad Squad, or if you're going to leave me a voicemail, or you're going to actually call me, you'll be blocked. I promise you, I'll block you if you call me on Instagram. I've done it already.
It's a thing.
All right, but just send me, it's a thing. But send me a DM. I'm happy to answer it. If I can help you, I will. If not, I'll tell you to schedule a consultation with me. You can also follow us at Brad Show Live and see all the best of our content from the show before, as well as some behind the scenes as well. And Belgium Kim and Jonathan Yo-Yo Ellis.
You can follow me for all of the latest news in my life, which they're hip and hot, y'all, at Travel Queen Kim.
How hot?
Real hot.
Oh, mine gets even hotter, though.
Yeah, it gets hotter.
Follow me at Jonathan Elias TV.
All right, so let's do something we like to call speed round. Julian, the TriCaster guy, has just bet me 1 day's salary.
Whoa. 1
day's salary.
Whose salary, though?
It's Julian, the TriCaster guy's salary.
Not
He's
yours.
bet me 1 day's salary, which is basically 6 cans of beer for him.
Right.
He's bet me 1 day's salary that I will not be able to answer 20 immigration questions in 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
Well, I only see 2 minutes up on there.
He
He's
really
already, he
Why
wants
you
that
hating
beer.
on
He wants that beer.
Why you hating on us?
Come on, 2 minutes and 30 seconds, Julian. That's fair is fair.
Thank you.
All right, you ready?
Ready.
Let's go.
Laddie said you submit your I-751 with $680 or $595.
$680.
Everblessed saying, after getting receipt of notice for I-130, how long after my kids in Jamaica can be here?
At least 18 months.
Prince said, can someone with a B1, B2 medical visa apply for a green card because of his condition?
No.
Adini says, my fiance has a child born in the U.S. He wants to adopt his nephew from Africa. What does that make his legal parent too?
It would make him a legal parent if he does an adoption, but you have to do it as an orphan or the kid won't come.
Damon L said, what happens at the citizenship interview?
They review your entire questionnaire on your citizenship application. They ask you government questions and history questions, and they want to make sure that you otherwise qualify for citizenship.
Adam says, interview May 2018. I'm still waiting the USCIS making decision. I filed
Ombudsman?
last week. What more do I have to do?
Filed what last week?
Ombudsman.
An ombudsman. You requested from the ombudsman. You can sit on your hands and whistle Dixie, or you can file a mandamus.
Suna said, can one use SSDI income to sponsor a spouse when it's over the income requirement?
If it's disability, yes.
Sam says, my wife has an interview in India last week. She got approved by a consulate officer, but still showing administrative process. Please answer.
You have to give them 120 days, and after that, you can contact us, and we'll contact them and do what we need to do to push it along.
Shani said, U.S. citizen has been petitioned for me. I traveled on my B2 visa while being petitioned for. Is that going to be a problem?
It could be, but unlikely.
David says, can I apply for adjustment of status if arrested for cocaine, shrooms, possessions? It wasn't convicted. I was put in diversion program.
Yes, you can apply. You don't have a conviction.
Loretta said, can someone travel on a combo card after their interview and waiting for the decision?
Yes.
Yvonne says, the I-751, must it be submitted 90 days before the expiration date or within the 90 days?
Within the 90 days.
Renee said, what do you do if you were used for a green card and the person has a conditional green card right now?
Well, then you lost.
Kofi says, please, if USCIS receives someone I-130 and I-485 application on November 15, 2017, and he wants the interview on August 2019, what's the priority date?
The date the application was received.
Joshua said, can a spouse sponsor even if one has lived here out of status for 5 years?
Yes.
David says, what's the first thing we should do when someone comes to the United States on a K-1 visa?
Get married.
Shazad said, what's the difference between a mandamus and a class action?
Mandamus forces the government to make a decision on your case. A class action is people getting together in the same position.
Sure, so it's I-360 approved 60 days ago, I-485 submitted at court. How long does it take to get an interview?
I don't know. And we lost. I got to give him 6 cans of beer now.
Damn. How many did we get?
I think we got 19. How many did we get?
That was 18.
18.
Jan had asked 18. So we need to
so we lost.
answer Suresh and Juliet.
We lost.
Congratulations, Julian.
I gotta be honest, Brad.
Yeah.
I feel like we would have.
There were very long questions in there.
There was long answers.
I was
You want me to answer the difference between a mandamus and a class action, which are huge legal cases in 3 seconds?
Fair. That's fair.
But I will say, on certain ones, you ain't got to give your sarcastic answer. Just say file a mandamus. Don't say sit on your hands
and whistle Dixie. That's not even a thing.
Mandamus.
What is a whistle? Who whistles Dixie? How does someone even do that?
You don't ever know Whistle Dixie?
No, what is Whistle Dixie?
It's like a song from the Civil War, you know?
Oh, God.
I'm sorry. We weren't there, but maybe you remember your tunes real well.
I remember my tunes from the Civil War.
Brad loved his blue uniform. My God, whistling Dixie up and down Denver. My God.
It's just a saying that you could just, it's like it just whistle forever and nothing will happen. Whistle a tune forever. All right, give me the last two.
Okay. We've got Suresh, who said the I-360 was approved 60 days ago and the I-485 was submitted at court. How long does it take to get an interview?
It could take anywhere from 1 day to 6 months to a year or longer.
Juliet says, I filed for an unmarried adult in 2013. I haven't received a notice of approval as of yet.
In 2013, you don't have an approval, but unmarried adult, you should get an approval because the priority dates are in January 2013. I think you're in mandamus time now.
And that's all we got.
All right, Belgium Kim and Jonathan Yo-Yo Elias, comments of the day. Comments of the day.
Our first one is from the wonderful Susan Johnson, who said, I stepped away for a minute and it feels like I missed everything.
Right. Susan, you are 100% right.
That's true. And honestly, what was really hilarious is that she left us that comment right before you said, okay, it's about 20 minutes of the show and we haven't talked about anything yet. Let's start. So it was perfectly timed.
All right, our second one comes from Blessed Angel saying, Uncle Brad, my baby is learning while growing in my belly. I tell you, it must be your voice. It makes me always feel better when your show starts.
You know what? Well, first you'll have a calm baby if my voice makes you better.
Right.
And number two, hopefully that baby will go to law school in 22 years from now, and you can call me up and say, I knew that baby was going to go to law school. Right?
Make you some money.
That's right.
Amen to that. Our next one comes from the absolutely wonderful D. Bean, who said, I'm home now. I was rushing to get home to watch the most informative immigration show on earth. Oh. You picked a good day, DB. Looks like everyone rushed home to watch
That's right. That is right.
All right, Elizabeth Francis saying, you're speaking to the best lawyer, Brad Bernstein. Why can't these people listen and learn instead of trying to represent themselves when they don't have a clue about immigration?
Bravo,
yes.
Elizabeth. Bravo.
You can't say it, but they can.
That's right.
That's so real.
So true, by the way.
Right.
This is why we do comments of the day. Our next one is from Lady Gaza TK, and when she was talking about not using her cell phone for over a year for $100,000, she had a big problem with that, Brad. Mm-hmm. She said, listen, I need my Brad Show Live, like how I need oxygen to live so they can keep that money. Wow.
Oh,
okay.
All right. She's willing to give up $100,000 a year
to keep watching
just to keep watching our show.
Do you think we should tell her that you could use computers in that challenge, and we are available at Facebook.com?
Yes, because I want her to get that $100,000 and still watch us.
Yeah. You're good. You're good.
Right. Now our last one comes from Lisa Bling Rose, which is a little bit outdated because she says 1.4K people watching Uncle Brad Show. Man, this is the greatest. But now
it's 1.5.
We're at 1.6.
We see 1.6.
And then another 200 on YouTube.
There you go.
I gotta be honest, today you really gotta step your game up. Normally it's neck and neck.
But YouTube was a little sad today. I mean, not that we're all tooting our own horn, but toot. All right, everybody. Programming note, it is the Jewish New Year tomorrow and Wednesday, so we'll be off, but we will be back live on Thursday. I can't help the Jewish New Year.
No, that's fair.
It's fair. What can I do? Have a great couple 2 days, and we'll see you on Thursday. Thanks for watching. So, Sam, as part of the production, we have to say this disclaimer at the end of the show. Do you mind reading it for me?
Okay, but you know, Brad, I have to do everything around here. It's bad enough I've got to remember everything that happened on the episode from the previous day.
Forget it, I'll do it. The proceeding was information only and not specific legal advice. Consult an attorney about your individual situation. Prior successful results do not guarantee a similar outcome in the future. To make an appointment with the Spar and Bernstein law firm located at 225 Broadway in New York City, call 1-800-529-5465. That's 1-800-529-5465. Easy to remember, 1-800-LAWLINK. That's 1-800-LAWLINK. Once again, make a call to 1-800-529-5465. And of course, link up with the law offices of Spar and Bernstein, located at 225 Broadway on the 5th floor. If I were you out there, make the call, make the link, make the connection, make it Spar and Bernstein. 1-800-LAWLINK. That's 1-800-529-5465. And now, conveniently located in Hartford, Connecticut on 1 Congress Street. Visit us in Connecticut or in New York at 225 Broadway. That's 1-800-529-5465. 1-800-LAWLINK. 1-800-529-5465. What are you doing?